Hyundai is looking to be a top 3 automaker in 2021. And while they're on a tear with their sales, other things aren't looking so great for them. Over at the Korean car blog, Hyundai closer than ever to third major manufacturer. They've never been in the top 3. Well, that could be changing in the near future. Hyundai has sold more than 5 million cars in the global market during the first 3 quarters of 2021. It's behind Volkswagen with almost 7 million and Toyota with about 6.3 million. But it has to hurdle Nissan, Mitsubishi, Renault with about 5.5 million units before the year is over. But they've already passed Stellantis, just narrowly, but they've passed Stellantis, which is Chrysler, Fiat, Dodge, Peugeot, and a bunch of other European automakers. Ford is nowhere to be found in the top 5, nor is General Motors. And I think it's because General Motors dropped the ball in third quarter as their sales slid, at least here in the United States, minus 33% compared to 2020. And they're saying next week's CES event is going to have a bunch of new reveals, mostly with autonomy and robotics and things like that, and EVTOLs, but we'll talk more about that next week. But there's a lot of other Hyundai news going on. Most of it is bad news for them. This one, you can look at it either way. Hyundai allegedly closed its combustion engine development center. So this information is coming from Business Korea, claiming Hyundai officially cut its engine development at the company's Namyang Research Institute. And Namyang is what N stands for in Hyundai's performance division, N. And those people needed to develop powertrains are now going to be developing electrification, as well as a battery group on top of that. Our own engine development is a great achievement, but we must change the system to create future innovation based on the great asset from the past. But there hasn't been an official press release on this, but I think it's more than likely true, as other large manufacturers have already canceled internal combustion engine research and development. And this comes at a funny time because over at Reuters, US regulations step up probe into Hyundai and Kia engine fires. Last year, they got smacked with millions of dollars of fines for failing to recall over 1.6 million vehicles for engine fires in a timely fashion. And the NHTSA is looking at 3 million vehicles to evaluate. So if they find more evidence that these engine fires are widespread, even more widespread than they were, more than 1.6 million, and if they paid 210 million last year and they find that 3 million of these vehicles should have been recalled and they haven't been, at least in a timely manner, they might be paying upwards of $1 billion total for failing to recall these vehicles in timely fashion, putting people's lives at risk. Now, sadly, the people who own these cars whose lives are at risk aren't going to see any of this money that Hyundai has been fined and probably will be fined in the future. It all goes to the government for general purpose use, which, hooray. Is it purely coincidence that they cut engine development at the same time they're getting fined hundreds of millions of dollars for fires inside their engines? Makes you wonder. And we also have more bad news for them. Hyundai recalling 2,679 Ioniq EVs for unintended acceleration. Remember, Toyota's got hammered more than a decade ago for having an unintended acceleration. And by the end of it, it looked like most of those cases were people stacking mats and the mats getting caught on the accelerators. But this is not a mat problem because Hyundai has already identified the issue here. An unstable electrical ground may cause the vehicle to enter a fail-safe mode with reduced acceleration and power. In certain conditions, while in fail-safe mode, the vehicle may accelerate after the gas pedal is released. Luckily, Hyundai said that they're not aware of any crashes, fires, or injuries. Thank God. And lastly, there were reports going around this week just after the news broke that they're not going to develop any more engines. It looked like they were going to kill their hydrogen development as well, which made no sense to me because earlier this year, Hyundai, SK, and other top Korean companies joined hands on hydrogen, spending billions of dollars investing into hydrogen to make it more feasible for South Korea to be fully dependent on hydrogen as a fuel source through renewable energy. It just didn't add up to me. And then luckily Motor One had an update here that allegation was false. The automaker denies the speculation, claiming its roadmap on next generation fuel development and electrification of Genesis fleet remains intact. So it's not going to happen. They're going hard into fuel cells as well as Toyota, I think BMW as well as a few other manufacturers. Look, I don't know how feasible hydrogen is in the short term. Long term, it makes a lot more sense, especially for large vehicles, semis, big cargo ships. trains, things of that nature that are just huge and need a lot of energy, don't have to put heavy battery packs in it. So are you surprised that Hyundai could be in the top 3 automakers this year globally when you count Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis? Do you think their issues with untimely recalls are going to be done with the death of their internal combustion engines in the near future? Or do you think their quality control will still not be the highest grade going into the electrification era with battery electric vehicles and fuel cells? But I can't wait to see you guys down below on your thoughts. Smash the like button if you enjoyed today's video. Subscribe for more Korean auto updates, Hyundai, Kia, Genesis news and reviews, as well as all the Japanese manufacturers. Most of you guys know that by now. Anyways, I'll catch you in the next video. As always, peace out.